AA4SS. I live down in Boonsville. I was first licensed in 2003. I did 20 years in the Navy, and when I retired, I got a job up here in Roanoke. So I've been here for the last 15 years now. And that's what I'd never been to Roanoke before till I retired from the Navy. I was never stationed in Norfolk. I stayed away from that place my whole 20 years. Spent too much time out in Hawaii and Florida there. But I've been around ham radio my whole life. My grandfather was a ham radio operator. I was very close to him growing up because I was the first grandson for him. So, and I think what really caught my interest is back in about 1982, I was in the car with him. I've heard his radios before, and he picked up his radio and did a thing called auto patch. How many people remember auto patch? Okay. What was it? What do you think it was, Ben?
You could hook up your phone to your radio and dial to not anything, but you could dial other phones via your radio or hook up your radio to your phone line.
So, before we had these, that's what auto patch did. Yeah, we were going camping. My grandfather was like, "Hey, did you bring this?" I was like, "No, Grandpa, I forgot. It's still sitting on my bed." All right, hold on. Picked up his radio, WAKZM, accessing auto patch. Hear a phone ring. Next thing you know, there's my mom. Hello. Like, holy heck, you're making phone calls from your radio? So that's what kind of really sparked my interest in it. And then my grandparents and my parents used to be on a bowling league together. And my aunt would come up and babysit me while they went bowling. Well, as soon as my mom and dad got home, I knew to turn on the TV and put it on channel 72 because there was my grandfather doing fast scan TV. And he'd be sitting there making faces at me and waving, just being goofy. And as soon as my aunt got home, she'd pop in the radio room and wave. We knew she got home safe. And then unfortunately, it was my bed. So I've kind of been around ham radio for all my life, but just really didn't get active in it until 2003. I did start getting my license back in 1988, but I kind of got my driver's license and I found out what girls were. So I started chasing girls instead of getting a ham radio ticket. So what is POTA? All right. Some of you that have been around, maybe you participated in this. Back in 2016, the ARRL sponsored a program called the National Parks on the Air. All right. So it's what we know POTA as today. It was designed, all right, amateur radio operators, get your butt into Yellowstone National Park, Smoky Mountain National Park, and make contacts. So that went on for a year, and then it ended. Well, there was a group of people that was like, you know what? That was really fun. We really enjoyed that. Let's keep it going. So a band of people got together and said, hey, we're going to do parks on the air all the time. The other nice thing about doing parks on the air, it's kind of like you're your own de-expedition. How many of you ever taken your radio and went down and sat next to a lake and operated? Okay, a couple of us. How many have not? So, I mean, does that sound like something fun that you'd like to do? All right. How about going up on McAfee's Knob and activating a radio? Just chilling out, enjoying the view.
Too many crowds.
Yeah. Well, no, go during the week, but but so it's kind of like you go on your own de-expedition. Okay, like Smith Mountain Lake. You know, there's some islands out there. Or well, actually, you can't do Smith Mountain Lake for POTA, but Philpott Lake you can. There's a couple islands out there. You could kayak out on that island. Be out there all by yourself, like you're on your mini de-expedition, all on your own. The other thing is, it's like field day. Field day every day. How many people really like doing field day? Yeah, like it so much, you come out and you do winter field day when it's 20 degrees outside, right? All right, so doing parks on the air is like field day just every day. And the other nice thing is, like you guys were just talking about, all right, getting out there, testing your equipment. All right, so you can experiment with some of the equipment that you have. Get out there. All right, Tom, how many antennas have we tested for you? Doing parks on the air. All right. Yeah, he's had a couple. I'm like, yeah, that's a good antenna. The other one's like, go put that back in your car. Get that other one back out again. It works so much better. So you can kind of do some experimenting with your equipment too. And I'll tell you, I've done a lot of stuff with 1 watt of power that I have done with 100 watts of power also. So, you'll find out that, you know what, QRP with a good antenna does almost just as good as 100 watts. That person might give you a 5.3 signal report instead of a 5.9, but you know what? He heard you 100%. Okay, so why should we do this? Well, this is fun. So here you go, Ben. 2021 on a Tuesday. There was hardly anybody at McAfee's Knob. And if you can see there, maybe in the back, I got a backpack on. I had just got the ICOM 705 3 days before this trip. So I gathered everything up, almost got the McAfee's Knob, and I'm like, wait a minute. My coax has a PL259 on it. This radio takes a BNC, and I don't have an adapter. I am not going to hike almost 3 hours not to play radio. And so I turned around, went to HC Baker, and I bought a 5-pack of them. So there's 2 of them in my car and 3 of them in my backpack. Okay, so that's what. And also the nice thing about getting on there is, if anybody, ever been on there, you're in a QSO and someone says, hey, thanks, you're my first Virginia contact. Kind of makes you feel a little special, don't it? You're like, heck yeah, I represent. So you get that a lot when you do parks on the air, because someone will tell you, hey, thanks for the new park. I've never contacted this park before. So you're like, all right, I did something, I accomplished it. Or people will tell you, thanks for activating. All right. How many times you ever been in a QSO and you wrap up things and they say, oh, by the way, thank you very much for talking to me. You'll get the guy that says, hey, I really enjoyed the QSO, and especially if you get really involved in a rag chew or something. But when you hear people telling you, hey, thanks for taking your time to go out and talk to me while you're in that park. And then you also, people that go out and do parks, they like to contact people in other parks, right? They normally say what? Lights repel? Well, not in POTA. All right. They'll see us on there and they'll be like, hey, I want to talk to that guy in that park. And just a quick another sentence. I was out doing, I think I was at Smith Mountain Lake, and a guy called me park to park. So I answered him and he said, all right, well, hey, you're 5'9" in my park, 1998 in Northeast Ohio. So I was like, oh, what park is that? Because as you can probably tell by the way I talk, I'm a Yankee. All right. I was like, well, I grew up in Northeast Ohio. And he was like, oh, well, I'm at Wingfoot Lake State Park, which FYI is where the Goodyear blimps were built. All right. I said, oh, I know exactly where that's at. I grew up and graduated from Alliance High School. And he was like, oh, I live in Alliance. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. And we just had a little conversation. And then, okay, you enjoy your day in your park. I'm going to enjoy mine. And we kind of started calling CQ again. 2 days later, I get an email from this guy. And he was like, Tim, man, it was great talking to you. And I looked you up on QRZ. And oh my gosh, you're Jimmy's grandson. He knew my grandfather. He used to play radio with my grandfather. So, and to add on the story, him and his wife went to Myrtle Beach on vacation. On their way back home to Ohio, she wanted to go to Black Dog Salvage. So he's like, Tim, I'm going to be in Roanoke. Let's get together and have dinner. All right. So we did. I think we went to Texas Roadhouse. So, of course, his wife, my wife are chatting it up about whatever. Me and him are. So he's like, I know your grandfather was Jim. Who is your mom and dad? I said, oh, Dick and Doreen Michael. He got this puzzled face. You're little Timmy. I was your TV repairman. So he knew me as a little kid, too. So, that's kind of the things that you can, get into and meet some interesting people and find out. Because actually, another guy hunted me once, And come to find out, he was from the same little small town in Ohio that I'm from. And as we got talking more, he was my uncle's best friend in high school. So it's kind of neat to do that. All right, now Tom, you might disagree with this, right, Tom? Is it easy?
He says, does he not? He said to my wife, stopped at the house. Then we were leaving, and she looked at my wife, he says, does he never learn?
Well, I used to joke around with Tom. I said, one more question you ask me, you're just gonna have to give me a key to your house. Okay, but there's two parts of Parks on the Air. There's the people out there activating the park that, had nothing better to do for the day, but hey, let's go sit in the woods or in a park. And then there's the people that are hunters. They're the ones trying to reach out. So as you can see here, you can hunt from your home shack. Being outside's optional. Okay, most of us, we sit inside, but like Fred Crack, he likes to just boogie out to his little deck outside, sit on his deck, takes his radio out there and hunts parks. Junie there, N1DUC. I just got that picture from her. She's a friend that I've met quite a few times, and she always has a duck with her.
What's the name of that duck?
Moochie.
Moochie.
Yep. She always has the duck with her. I mean, she was at Dayton this year. She had the ducks with her.
Last couple of years.
Every time, yep. She was traveling down 81 one time. She called me and she's like, Tim, I'm going to be in your area. I was like, all right, meet me on the Blue Ridge Parkway, milepost, whatever, 102, I think it was at the time. And there she goes, shows up with her ducks, puts out her little pen, lets the ducks out and that. Okay, now even as an activator, all right, you might be like, you know what, that sounds like fun, but I don't want to drag a bunch of stuff out and set it up and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's the way I am in January and February, maybe December. But you can activate on your vehicle, all right? So if it's cold or rainy and I want to get out to a park and do something, but I don't want to get out in the park, I'll just drive my truck. I got an HF radio with a screwdriver on there. So I can just use a screwdriver, do sideband. I plug in this laptop, do FTA, PSK, slow scan TV, whatever. So it's just being in the park. So you don't actually have to get out. Now, what's another reason to do this? Well, you get out in the middle of the woods, normally you got a low noise level. Right? Is there, just say, up here on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Yeah, that's a good one because you can go anywhere on the Blue Ridge Parkway and do Parks on the Air. How many LED lights are up there? None, right?
Until you get around Rocky Camp with the campground.
Yeah. But overall though, you won't get that. All right. How many wallworks are plugged in? Some of your big noisemakers, you're not going to have it up there. You might get up there and think your radio's broke because you barely hear any static. Ooh, what'd I do to my radio? I got squelch turned up.
That's one noise floor.
Yeah, it's real quiet. All right, some other ones, unique challenges. Okay, Moore State Forest. I think that's the one up there in Lexington. When I first started doing Parks on the Air, that thing had never been activated. Well, it was about a mile hike. Once you parked, you had about a mile hike in. So I was like, come on, I'm going to go do it. No one's done it yet. So that was kind of a challenge I set for myself. Okay. The park is more, blah, 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 yeah. The park is likely more picturesque than your shack wall. I mean, I don't know. Robert, what's your shack wall look like? Okay. I mean, at least mine, I got 2 windows. I can look out at least and see Cahos Mountain if I wanted to. But how many people's shacks down in their basement? Yeah. You eat mac and cheese down there too? Right? You seen that commercial? Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Do you think up there on the Blue Ridge Parkway on Taylor's Overlook or Milepost 100, pretty nice view, right? You can just sit out there, and I remember the one time out there at Milepost 100, there was a rabbit out there. I almost handed the rabbit the mic to activate because he just kind of hung around me all day. You know, just chilling out. It's like, okay.
Well, he would give it a try.
When the mama and two cubs came, I went,
Yeah, I'd probably be out too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing is, it's great to be an ambassador for ham radio. I was sitting at a park one time and some people had just walked by. I can't remember what park it was, but it was a little busy. It was a little bit of a busier park. And a lady walks by and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" You know, because of course we got an antenna up and we told, "Oh, we're doing ham radio." "Oh, my dad did that stuff. He really liked it." So we kind of just got talking or whatever. And we were like, "Does he still do it?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, he loves it." I said, "Well, call him. Tell him we're on this frequency." I pointed to my radio, like probably 7.272. I said, "Tell him to go to that frequency and give us a call." And he did. So that lady just walking by, we handed her the microphone and said, "Here, say hi to your dad." So, you know, being a good ambassador for ham radio. Most people, we tell them, yeah, we're talking to aliens. we wear aluminum foil hats, but
Do you find it's therapeutic or something?
heck yeah. I tell you, I have never had a bad POTA experience. Tom's almost gave me one, but I'm just making fun because in this room, he's the only one I think that's really ever went out with me quite a bit to do this. So I'm sorry, Tom. All my stories are going to be revolved around you.
You know, all the information.
Derek's listening on Zoom.
So with you.
So Derek brings me pizza, so I can't give him a hard time. Also, another thing with POTAs, they do have their own little award systems. All right. Me? I don't know. There's certain awards that I do like to go for in POTA because they're kind of challenging for me. Because like the one I'm working on now is I have to make 10 contacts at 6 different parks on 6 meters. All right. So that's the one that I've kind of challenged myself to get right now. But they have all kinds of them. They have, like right here, it's called the late shift. All right. That's if you make so many contacts after 8 o'clock at night with somebody. And they're both as activators and hunters. So if you're one of those that's like, yeah, but I don't see myself getting out in the woods and doing this, but you might enjoy hunting. All right. The good one is Fred Crack, NS4TT. He loves to hunt. He tells me, yeah, I hunted 23 of them yesterday. I got this. We all pretty much know Wayne, right? W8SUN, and his brother, Fred, KW4FM. Actually, they're the ones that got me started in POTA and that. But Fred, his brother, he's hunted a park every single day of the year for the last 3 years. And that's just a personal goal of his.
and Wayne did till he.
Yeah, Wayne did too, till he had his health issues. Yeah, but that's just some people, that's what they like to do. There's a guy in Michigan. He could just say hi to him. I'll recognize his voice. I'll be like, "Hey, Eddie, how you doing?" There's a lady, Toby, over in New Jersey. She don't even got to give her call sign. You recognize her voice. That's what they like to do. They like to see how many parks they can collect. And Fred over there, one of the things, he tries to work every park in the state. And as soon as he gets a state done, they add a couple more parks. So now he's got to go back and do it again. But hey, it gives you something to work for. So there are some awards that they give out. Here's the big one. POTA is not a contest. Okay, it's just time to go out there, which actually field day is really a contest, right?
Yes.
But POTA is not. So what does that mean?
You use the work van.
Yeah, you can get on 17 meters, right? You can get on 12, 30, 60, 80, 160, 2 meters, 70 centimeters. 220, I haven't got one on 220 yet, but I don't take a 220 radio, so maybe that's why. But you can do it on all bands because it's not a contest. So you kind of heard me say this, right? Hunter and activator. It's the two sides. The activator is the person running the station in the park. All right, this is Dave, which I haven't heard him in a while. N9FVR, but he used to be out there all the time, but he's at a Lewis and Clark historic site, which is probably in southern Indiana, all along the Ohio River. And then you got the hunters. The hunters, wherever you're at, you can be a hunter. You don't have to be sitting at home. You could have a mobile in your car. The other day I was up on Roanoke Mountain and I just put the radio on 146 580 called CQ for Parks on the Air and Summits on the Air up there. And, mobile station answered me back. So you can be a hunter from anywhere.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yep.
Specifically on hunters. If you're hunting for POTA stations, did you call CQ specifically for POTA or do you just
No.
pounce?
We'll get there. Because if you call, you could call and say, hey, I'm looking for POTA stations, but it's not like an activator is going to be sitting there spinning the dial. Who wants to talk to me? You see what I'm saying? But you're going to see here in a way where you can find out where them POTA people are and go get them. So there are a few little rules, right? Follow the laws. All right. That would be, for us, what the FCC says we can do. So if, it's not, like I normally like to say, like field day is kind of a free for all, because if you hold a technician license and I'm right there with you, go ahead, go on HF, experience it.
Go the extra bit.
Yeah, go wherever you want. Okay. Well, as being an extra class, I can. But if you're a general class, you still need to stay in the general portion of your band when doing Parks on the Air. All right, that's what we're saying, following the law. Still got to give your call sign out. Follow the DX Code of Conduct. Who has not heard of that? Bill, you haven't heard of it?
No.
Oh, you need to get that for him. Read it to him. All right, you better read it. Because I got on Jeff one day on the radio. I'm working a station. I'm talking to him. Jeff keeps throwing out his call sign. I knew how it was him. Yeah, I knew it was Jeff. So I said, Jeff, listen, buddy, you gotta wait till I call CQ or QRZ before you just start throwing out your call sign. Well, you know what? I think Jeff read it. Because you know what now? I'll finish out for QSO and then Jeff will call me. Okay, when he hears me call QRZ. So the DX Code of Conduct's one of those. Just don't randomly throw out your call sign. Don't throw out the call sign as like Alpha Bravo Mickey Mouse Club, making up your own phonetics. It's just that. But if you're not sure what it is, Google it. It makes you a good operator. How many people we listened to on the radio before and we said, man, that guy's a lid. All right. If you follow the DX Code of Conduct, you won't be a lid. And follow the golden rule. What's the golden rule of ham radio?
Do unto others as you would.
Nah,
Not that, huh?
have fun.
Oh.
This is a hobby, right, guys? It's a hobby. And why do we do it? Because it's something we enjoy doing. And let's have fun while we do it. If it ain't fun, then why are we doing it? All right. We get frustrated, of course, but we always come back to it, right? So have fun with it. And if you're an activator, there's a little bit more things that you have to do. You need to go ahead and go to the parksontheair.com website and register, set you up an account. All right, don't worry. It does not cost nothing. And I can tell you, Parks on the Air has never tried to send or sell me an extended warranty for my radio. Okay? I've never gotten a bunch of spam because I signed up for Parks on the Air. And then the other thing is when you're an activator, your equipment and you must be in the park. There has been so many people that have asked questions. Well, right in my backyard is this park. So can I just throw my antenna up in a tree in that park? And no, you and all your equipment have to be in the park. All right, there is one little exception, which I got here, which is called the 100-foot rule. Okay, that's considering if you're by a waterway, that's Parks on the Air entity, or like the Appalachian Trail. They don't expect you to go up there and just sit right in the middle of the dang trail and operate. So you just move off a little bit. There's a park called the Captain John Smith National Historic Waterway. It's like all of Chesapeake Bay, all of the Potomac River, and all of the James River, all the way up to where the cow pasture and Jackson meet. So if I could go anywhere, as long as it's public property. It does have to be public property. As long as I'm within 100 feet of the river, I can activate it as that park. Now, even if your buddy Joey owns some land, technically, no, because it's not public, but there's no POTA police gonna come out, you know. So it's mainly done a lot on the honor system. All right, now also, an activator, if you're an activator, you're required when you're done with your activation to upload your log to the Parks on the Air site. As a hunter, you don't have to do nothing. You just got to make that contact. It's up to the activator to send his logs up there. Because if you've never done Parks on the Air before, but then you go set up an account, as soon as you set up an account, you're going to find out, oh my heck, I've already worked 35 parks. Because even though you might have worked somebody years ago, as soon as you make that account, it looks and it sees and it gives you credit for doing that. Okay, so as a hunter, you don't have to worry about, ooh, I need to submit a log that I just made contact with Tim on the Blue Ridge Parkway or anything. It's all on me. All right, might take me 2 or 3 days because I might be camping, but it'll get up there.
How do you register it?
How do I what?
How do you register?
Oh, you go to that parksontheair.com right there. And then what's that one say?
How to register.
Yep, get help and getting started. And you bring down that, how to register, and you click on that. And it's pretty much one, it's just going to ask you for your email address and blah, blah, just like any other website. You'll click submit. In a few minutes, you'll get an email from them saying, is this really your email? Are you really done it? And then it's there. So as far as that, parksontheair.com is a website that you can use. And then don't get confused with this. .app. It is not an app for your phone. Why they did that, I don't. You do IT stuff, right? What is app? Why did they put that?
Because it is an app, and actually it's not necessarily an app for your phone, it's just a web app.
Okay. But POTA.app, that is what almost all of us use. All right. The Parks actually on the air.com website, I might go there once every 6 months because I just need to check the rules, make sure nothing's really changed. And I'll see something on Facebook and I'm like, man, is that guy really right? Let me go dig into the rule book some more and find out. Okay. But on the POTA.app site right there, what's nice about that is that's where, Ben, you were asking me? On that site, it's going to give you what's called a spot page, which I'll show in a little bit. And that'll tell you where right now, who's in what park they're in, what frequency they're in, what mode they're doing, and stuff like that. And also you might be like, well, what parks are around here for me to do? It's got a mapping feature. And just here, say you're going to the Netherlands on vacation. You want to take your radio. You're thinking, hey, I'm going to do some DX parks. All right. At least on that website, you can go and look, and everywhere there's a yellow dot, that's a Parks on the Air location. So you can kind of pick it out. I use that a lot because I've activated a park in every state east of the Mississippi River. All right, I would take a business trip to Milwaukee. Ooh, let me see what park's going to be here when I'm close by. So I use the map, find a park. Okay, I'm going to go there. I had to do a business trip to Texas. 705 went with me. All right, left the wife at home. 705 went with me. All right, and I activated a park there. In a month, I'm going out to Portland, Oregon. So guess what? I'm going to get an Oregon park activated and a Washington State park activated. So I've already used the map to look. Ooh, this one's cool. Ooh, that one looks cool. You know, once again, that's like that mini DXpedition. Because one of them I'm going to go do is right there on the Columbia River. So I'm like, I think that'll probably make the James River look like kids play, you know? All right. Also, how many of us use Facebook? Quite a bit of us, right? All right. Well, guess what? Just like everything else, there's a Facebook group for Parks on the Air. And I'll tell you, 90% of it, what's the best radio? What's the best antenna? What's the best battery to use? Yeah, I mean, they ask the same questions over and over, you know, and you're just like, just go look 2 days ago. You got 80 responses to what's the best antenna. What is the best antenna?
What you got?
Yeah, exactly. And what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You know? I mean, me, if I'm very limited on time, I want to get in the park, make a couple contacts and get out. I don't want to fool with putting a dipole antenna up or an end-fed half wave. I want to take that Wolf River coil antenna, slap it, all right, bye, boom, pack it up and go.
Hamstick on a spike.
Yep, ham stick on a spike. You know, it's just, but it's always, what is the best? What's the best HF radio to use?
When you did.
Yeah. You know, it's just, I don't know. What do you consider the best? What's the best car in the world? We all got our different opinions, right? Yeah.
There you
I tell
go.
my wife that. She's like, I need a new car. Again. So right here, last time I did this presentation, right here's a quick snapshot of the Parks on the Air entities right around here on our area. Okay, but you can take out that little dot right there. That one they took off the page. Okay, but up here on 12 o'clock knob, the Potts Mountain Wildlife, or is it State Natural Area, I think is what it's actually called. That's a Parks on the Air location. Havens Wildlife Management Area, right up here on north of 81. And of course, all over the Blue Ridge Parkway. And Booker T. Washington, out there. Smith Mountain Lake State Park, right up there, actually on Smith Mountain. That's Smith Mountain Wildlife Cooperative Wildlife Management Area, which FYI, the gate's open tomorrow for all the wildlife management areas. I love going up there with my truck because, I mean, you know, we all seen Smith Mountain, right? You ever been on the top of Smith Mountain looking down at the lake? It looks a lot better looking down than it does looking up at that mountain. All right. This right here is Grassy Hill State Natural Area, right there in Rocky Mount. Berry Stone State Park, Berry Stone Farms Wildlife Management Area, which, Tom, I think me and you went out to Berry Stone a couple times, didn't we? So that's just kind of a quick snapshot of what's run. Now,
Is Philpott a total?
yep, it's part of actually 9933. And if you bring up the maps of Berry Stone Farms Wildlife Management Area, it shows you your border and everything's incorporated in that border, all the campgrounds. And Berry Stone's website, the page for Berry Stone State Park, it used to say, this is also part of 3981. but they've taken it off of there. So I don't know. Someone was like, nah, I don't know, but they're both state entities and POTA police don't show up there.
There's also the entirety of the Appalachian Trail
Yeah.
and Virginia Bird and Wildlife Trail.
Yeah.
has-
Yeah, I was gonna get to that one too, yeah. Because that came about 2 years ago and that opened up a lot.
There, and sometimes we'll have to ferry one of my coworkers up to Newcastle. And there's a road that goes up from Salem to Newcastle. There, the Appalachian Trail intersects that road, so.
311?
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
And you got, Jefferson National Forest,
yeah,
all the way up through there, it's in that.
yeah. Yeah, the George Washington Jefferson National Forest, anywhere that you're within them boundaries.
Basically 21 in like,
Yeah.
I would say our county.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and talk about that real quick. Because to do a park, it had to be either federally ran or state ran. Okay, and the reason they did that is just so we don't have the system flooded with Billy Bob's Dog Park here, you know, or whatever.
Public.
Yeah. And so a couple years, that's why you used to not have Green Hill Park was not a POTA location. Mill Mountain up there was not a POTA location. But a couple years ago, they added to the system Park 9935, which is the Virginia Bird and Wildlife Trail. How many of us have seen those blue or brown signs saying wildlife viewing area? Well, guess what? That's now a POTA park. So when they brought that up, that makes Green Hill Park now a POTA location, Fishborn Park, Garce Mill Park,
Richmond.
I think even Thrasher Park might be part of it. I ain't going over there though. But hey, it's there. But like over in Vinton, the is that Wolf Creek Greenway?
Yeah.
That's part of the bird watching trail. So it's a POTA location. You can go right there behind the skating rink and park and do parks on the air as 9935. So that opened up a lot of them. Yeah, Ben.
They need to seriously consider, opening a subdivision up explicitly for county level parks,
Mm-mm.
because.
I tell you, they never will because it would saturate the system with so many parks. I mean, you gotta just put a cap on it. You know, I mean, when you get like my age, you're gonna be like, I got 5 HF radios. I need to put a cap on it. But then I buy some.
I mean,
But no, that's why county and local parks are not in there, just because you would saturate the system.
And they only had it.
I mean, the nearest park for me is Smith Mountain Lake, but the park that's in my backyard is Liberty Lake Park, but that's not available to me.
And I wish it was, because that is a nice park. And even the one on the other side of town at the south, because I used to go out there and do geocaching. That's a nice park too. So, what, you got the Peaks of Otter. That picnic area up there, that's nice, as long as you can deal with the mosquitoes. What's that?
Hike up short.
Yep, yeah, if you want to hike all the way up there.
It's on.
So actually, I'm gonna skip through this kind of stuff right here because I'm just trying to conserve some time. But so like right here, I talked about operating out of your car. Here was my old F-150. I got a spider beam pole up there with the dipole out. That was one of those trips where it was December. And I found out that I had like 5 days vacation I had to use at work, or I was just going to lose it. I couldn't sell it. I couldn't roll it over because I was already doing all that. So kissed the wife goodbye, said I'll be back in 3 days. And I took off and I went out and I just did parks for 3 days. This here was at Warriors Path State Park there in Tennessee, right by Kingston, right there. And once again, like I said, it's December. I want to get out of my car and sit on a picnic table. So I got out long enough to put up the dipole. And
Your butt off, that's why you would.
yeah, well, I was quick about it. And I put up the antenna and I made 100 contacts, just sitting there in the nice warm truck with the 7100 out there. Yep.
As a state.
I'll have to look then and see. But I can tell you, I know it don't have a number. No, well, you look on there and the frequently asked questions and it'll tell you how you do that. All right, because we have a mapping coordinator for Virginia. He's the one you would reach out to if you think a park needs to be added. There's just another picture of me out at Smith Mountain Lake State Park. If you've ever been out there, they got that amphitheater out there. Well, that's right there out there on that point. But the other nice thing about POTA is when you go to that POTA.app site, we have our own spotting page on there. Anybody use DX Summit? All right, are familiar with spotting pages like that you can just go look and see who's out there on the radio? So you could go to our spotting page and like this example, which you guys, I'm not sure if you can read it good enough. But it says AA4SS is at park. Well, now it'd be CA0973. It'll tell you that's in Quebec. What part of Canada it's in. It's in Quebec. It'll tell you the frequency that he's on, what mode he's doing. And then also down here in the last part, it'll say last heard 1 minute ago. So you would know, I bet he's probably still there. If you see it saying that it was 28 minutes ago, he probably left. But when I get to a park, before I even start calling CQ, I bring up that POTA APP website. I'm like, AA4SS, I'm on 14235 at US. You know, I put in my park number and I'll put in there SSB. Or if Tom's say with me, I'll put in the comments, 2 operators with whiskey for Tango Kilo whiskey with me. Or some places I go, there are 2 parks. So I'll put also park block. You know, I can just put in whatever. I can even put in there, please don't call me. But why would I do that? But I could, you know, I mean, I could put that in there. So that's a nice little spot page that we have, and it updates every 60 seconds or so you can see actually who's out there. So, you know, Ben, like you were asking, if you were wanting to hunt parks, this is where you would go. Oh, this guy's on this frequency. Spin the dial. If you make contact with him, cool. Who's the next guy? And the next guy? And the next guy? Anybody remember this guy? Bob? He used to be the secretary for the club a while ago, but he was another one that I got wrapped up into getting out there and doing parks on the air. And I think this picture, is, where did we go on that? I think we were just up on a forest road up by Fincastle up there. Just went up there one day, didn't see nobody. We just had a little pop-up tent and table and chairs and just sat up there and started making contacts. And there's another one at Smith Mountain Lake State Park. And like I was saying, you know, you can work for awards. They got one that's called a Kilo Award. That's when you make 1,000 contacts from that park. And I mean, it can be over 10 days, 2 days. If you want to run a marathon and try it in 1 day. All right. Actually, Wayne, W8SUN, he challenged me to that. Yeah, I thought about it. No. No. But so what does Parks on the Air consider a QSO? All right, well, when we get on there, okay, say I'm calling CQ Parks on the Air, and one of you guys call me, I can be like, hey, thanks for contacting me in the park. Have a great day, 7-3. long as I get your call sign. That's all I need is your call sign. Now, on my end as an activator, I will make sure that I mark down the UTC date, your call sign, what band it was. I don't even need to put in the frequency. What mode? Were we sideband? Were we FT8, FP4, PSK 31, whatever, and what park I'm in. But to make a contact, now, traditionally, we do pass signal reports. Okay. And, I mean, you'll get it, lots of times, just like working DX. What was your call? Who's the sugar guy? Who's the sugar? Who's the, okay, AA4SS. All right, you're 5'9". Oh, 5'9". Why did I have to give you my call sign 8 times?
Because
You know,
you were coming back to everybody else.
yeah, but it's just that rickamarand. So, but traditionally, that's what we will do. We still, hey, I got you 5'9" in the park. Or, you'll hear someone tell me I'm 5'9", and I'll be like, I'm sorry, buddy. I only got you about 5'3". Oh, I'm only QRP 5 watts. Oh, well, dang, your 5 watts is doing you good, buddy. So that's just not, that's kind of what we do, but just exchange of call signs. That's really all that's needed.
Some of the people on YouTube, if they know the people are calling, we'll give them a 1-1.
Yeah. Oh, I do that. That's my favorite one. So say I'm in a park and Bill calls me. Okay. All right. Hey, Bill, thanks for hunting me in the park, man. Yeah, you're a nice 5'9". Okay. We'll stand by for second operator. All right. Linda calls me. I'll be like, man, did you just get a new radio? Because you sound a lot better than that other station. I mean, you're like 20, 40 over. Or you need to teach that other guy how to operate that radio because you sound so much better. I like them. Plus, you got husbands and wife teams that go out and do this a lot. And I know, like you said, I know they're there. So I'll be like, yeah, I don't got you too good today. I got you like 3-1, maybe 3-2 at the best. Okay, well, stand by. And then the wife comes on. Oh, man, hey, you're 5'9" plus. Yeah, it sounds like you're right here next to me. So,
Vaughn and Julie.
yeah. Yeah.
Julie always gets a better report than Vaughn does.
Yeah.
Women automatically get 10 dB.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Julie has one that gave me this shirt. All right. So, what modes can we use? What modes do we have?
Everything.
Guess what? You can use them all. Sideband, CW, FT8, AM, FM, JS8, FT4, PSK 31, Riddy, Olivia. All right. I think I've used them all, but that one. All right.
Scriber.
Huh?
Go Scriber.
Yep. Oh, we did that. One day, me and a buddy, we were there and we went through almost all the digital modes one day. But I'm the first to tell you, I'm not a CW guy. The bug never bit me. But hey, that's what you enjoy. Great. Do it, I got my buddy Bob, W6ING. He goes out with me a lot. He likes to do CW. So I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go stretch my legs. Go ahead and have fun. Bang around on your paddle like a fish or whatever,
Every time you get 3 steps, you got his 10 contacts.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's like any mode. I've even done, like I said, slow scan TV from the park. I've done satellite contacts from the parks. All right. But the whole thing is even if you're just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get out there in the woods. The hunters are the ones that make this whole thing work. Because I could sit out there in the woods, CQ Parks on the air. CQ Parks on the air. How much fun is that? The joy comes in when someone comes back to my CQ call. And probably about 3 years ago, you call CQ quite a bit. But now POTA's gotten so popular. One day I went to a park, and before I even transmitted, I spotted myself. And I hit spot. And I'm just waiting for it to refresh to make sure it took. AA4SS, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. That whole activation, I think I had 175 contacts I never called CQ once. That's just because people would look on that spot page and see me, and they just had a pile up going. You know, another thing is I think the other, one of the field days, you know, someone was like, man, how did you run that pile up? You know, I mean, I took over for somebody so they could go eat dinner, and they ate, and they came back, and I had like 48 contacts in their log. You know, I hear something, yeah, the Whiskey Victor station. Okay, blah, blah, blah. The Charlie Alpha station, because when you do parks on the air, that also, I think, in a sense, gets you as a more tuned with your ears to listen for call signs. Because how many times when we first get licensed, you'll be like, what was that call sign? Was it Tango Whiskey Kilo? What was that? You know, I can't remember.
You should train as a net control.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So that's a good thing. So, like I said, the main parts are create an account at Parks on the Air. Watch the spotting page. Then when you find someone you want to get to, start calling them using that DX code of conduct. You know, just give your call sign. Alpha, Alpha 4, Sierra, Sierra. All right. You still will get a lot of people that'll just go, like one guy, he likes to say Ford Motor Company. Right? He's N3 FMC. You know, which, yeah, that ain't really following the code of conduct. I mean, yeah, Sierra's the technical, right?
When you give it several times and they still don't.
Yeah.
Then you go American for sugar.
Yeah.
Then they.
Well, I found Europeans like sugar better than Sierra. So if I know I'm calling Europeans, yeah, it's America for sugar. So
I was on the Virginia Tech Amateur radio last night, so I was working POTUS. And of course, K4 Kilo Delta Juliet is rare getting on the air. And as soon as I did that, everybody started wanting to work me out. So no, this is this man's frequency. You work him.
Yeah, I've had that too before. I mean, I'll be hunting someone and, you know, that was their frequency. I gave them that park to park and I get ready to spin the dial and I heard someone say, AA4SS, you still there on the park? And it's like, no, sorry, it wasn't my frequency. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to go to Rock Creek Park in Virginia. That's where NCIS found all the bodies.
Well, hey, it might be interesting, entertaining. Just go during the daylight. I don't know if you want to do a nighttime activation there. All right, so portable stations. If you got a portable station, what's the things you need? Power, right? You need a way to power up your radio. Battery, generator, solar, whatever. Got to have a radio. Got to have an antenna, right? And maybe a computer for logging or, you know, the old time log, right? I don't think a piece of paper and a pencil have ever failed unless you broke it, right? Well, if you don't have it charged. I mean, this thing has been in the woods so many times, but I still have a notebook with me and a pen and pencil just in case. You know, and you might have mains available. Okay, like you go to some places that I've been, you're under a pavilion, there's an outlet. Oh, hey, it's been turned on. Okay. Or even like I can't confirm or deny I ever did it, but I was at Furry Stone once. I see, oh, look, there's an outlet. Oh, man. I can't reach that. Oh, yeah, I can. I can climb up that fireplace, go in the record, get my extension cord. So sometimes, you know, you might actually have power. Matter of fact, one time at Furry Stone, the park closes at 10 o'clock at night. And so at 9:30, I start wrapping my stuff up because I just went there to do a nighttime activation. And one of the park rangers showed up. We're like, hey, we know you close at 10. We're getting everything out of here. We'll be out of here. And she's like, oh, you're the ham radio guys? It's like, yeah. Oh, you guys don't cause no problem. Stay as long as you want. You want me to turn on the pavilion lights for you? And then it's just like, could you have shown up 20 minutes sooner? Because we already had the antenna down. We had everything packed up, just getting ready to carry the last few things to the car. But like me, I go camping all the time. All right, I was just camping 4 days ago. Well, I got plugins, so I use a power supply for that. Generators, all right, when I first started, right? Bob, K4BNZ, he had a Honda generator. Which if you ever plan on doing portable activations, I recommend you spend the money and get that Honda. Okay? Because I got the Walmart one for $400. And when I use it, I can't use 40 meters. And I can barely hear 20 meters. Because that thing is going to.
Ground on it yet?
Huh? Oh yeah. I tried to ground that thing. I even made a brute force filter for it. No. So the only good thing it is when we lose power in Boonesville, I can power up my TV and my internet boxes and my Starlink, so I can at least get something to do. But that's why I'm saying, like, if you've been out there for field days, you know Dave Kinsey has 2 of these he brings out. They're nice and quiet. They don't cause no RFI, you know, because you are paying for the design factor of them. They're a lot better.
Stay away from Harbor Freight.
Yeah. Which,
I got one and it was close to about 500.
the Predator?
And I got it out there, fired it up, and the radio worked okay, but my computer, I couldn't use it. I mean, there was just a sine wave.
Well, I don't think that was the generator. That might have been the operator.
Yeah. Because where you going with that?
Yeah.
But in their defense, I will say, you know, I got the package deal with some insurance and all that. And I called them and said, look, it's just not gonna work with my radio equipment. Oh, well, dump the oil as best that you can out of it, bring the paperwork with it and bring it back. We'll refund everything. And they did. I mean, I walked in the door. They said, just put it right there. It says, let me have your paperwork and, you know, okay. And you're okay. Yeah, we just credited it. So, yeah, my experience with Harbor Freight, they got a lot of good stuff there that, you know, you don't have to pay a fortune for. But I stay away from any of the electrical.
Yeah.
Grill or anything. They don't.
Yeah.
I have got a Harbor Freight to work. I had to put 4 12-inch nails in the ground and make a ring around it.
Yeah. A halo.
Then it cut out all the noise.
Yeah.
I almost had to put in a pentagram. I made squares.
All right. So what is this?
That,
What kind of battery? Lithium ion, LiPo 4 battery. What's this one probably?
AG.
Yeah, lead acid, some kind, right? Which, do they work?
Yeah.
yeah,
They work, but you know, it's like going to England in a rowboat. Can you get there that way? Yeah. Is it the desired way? Probably not. But LiPo 4 batteries nowadays, I mean, they're lightweight. They can last you a long time. I've had one, a 20 amp hour one, for 4 years now, and I think I finally wore it out. Because now it'll say it's fully charged and I maybe get 2 hours out of it to where I used to get 4 hours out of it. But that battery has quite a bit of time on it and that, but yeah, they're really nice. I mean, yeah, there used to be, I remember someone here in the club, maybe you're here, that used to work for the hospital, something about x-ray machines. No matter what, after so long, the batteries had to be changed out, even if they were good or bad. And I remember he used to make a bunch of them.
It was Bill, I can't remember his last name, but yeah, they were 36-volt batteries wired, so they gave you 12.
Yeah. So yeah, but batteries are a good thing. Yeah, I got a little 6 amp hour one that's not very big, fits in my backpack. It's small enough I can fly with it. So, but yeah, LiPo 4s is a good thing. All right, also solar panels. All right, I know a lot of us have those, and I know a lot of people that say, you know what? I put out my solar panels and I operated all day, and my battery was still charged at the end of the day. So you can go all night now on your batteries. So you got many of options for powering.
See, you get your solar plan down. So when you go to field day, you got power all night.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't even have to run the generator. Heck, you get you a 100 amp hour battery, be good. I assume. So,
3 of them.
what radio do you need?
Any-
The one that transmits
When
and
you-
receives. Right, the one that you have. Is it a 705? Is it a G90? Right? I mean, other ZAGU radio? I mean, what's some of the other ones out there now? You know? Yeah, I mean, if it transmits, that's all you need. Because like I said, you could run 10 watts and you put yourself on that spot page. People are going to be listening for you. They're going to come find you instead of you being the small little voice competing with 100+ watt people trying to get that DX. They're going to be listening for you. So, I mean, I've done many of activations with only 10 watts. And you know what? I still had no problems getting contacts out of there. One goal I set for myself was out there at Booker T, Washington. I said, I'm gonna try to get a kilo award out there. And I'm gonna do it all 10 watts and less. And it took me 9 tries out there to finally get it. But anybody recognize that radio? No, not a Yaesu.
It's an icon.
706 Mark II-G.
Yep.
It was a real popular radio right about 2000. All right, that was the first HF radio I ever bought with my own money. I still have that radio today. So when I first started doing Parks on the Air, that's the radio I used. And just a little side note, this radio has traveled the world. Because when I was still active duty, I took that out to sea with me when I was on the Navy ship. And my captain told me, yes, I could operate my radio anytime I wanted, that I just knew the rules. I couldn't say what we were doing or where my exact location was. I could say I'm in the Mediterranean Sea, Atlantic Ocean, Red Sea, or whatever, right? And I tell you, I get on there and someone would spot me. I mean, just think about it. You're sitting there and you hear a station that says they're Maritime Mobile on a U.S. Navy ship. Are you going to try to contact them? Right? Well, you must be an Air Force guy going, oh, that's cute. Playing in his boat, right? But, any radio you have, a lot of people, they'll drag a 7300 out there. Okay? Me, if I am going out just to say for the park for the day, up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, I take a Yaesu 710 out there with me. Inside my camper is an FTDX tent there. Yeah, I used to use a 7300 myself in the camper. Going out for the day, I still have it, a Yaesu 891, the little HF mobile radio, which I highly recommend. For the price of that radio, I don't think you can beat it.
Took X6100 out and play POTA just the other day. Managed to get Argentina on 10 watt side of the
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, QRP, it's I never liked QRP really. I was always like, Icon gave me 100 watts. They want me to use 100 watts. So guess what I did? I used 100 watts all the time, I mean, I do 100 watts FT8 because, it's a weak signal mode, not a low power mode, But I got that 705. And I tell you what, after going up there on McAfee's knob, I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. QRP. So,
You got Fred to buy one too, didn't you?
yeah, and then he sold it, then he bought another one. But I mean, it is, it's just QRP is fun. I mean, it's when you're doing Parks on the Air, I don't think it's really that much of a challenge because people are hunting you, like you said, Argentina hunted you. Things that are handy to have, right? A built-in tuner. Me personally, I don't like tuners. I like to use resonant antennas because for one, that's one less thing I got to take out. But another nice thing about having a tuner is because I have linked dipoles or I got an end-fed half wave. Well, my end-fed half wave really ain't designed for 17 meters. But I hit that little tune button. I fake the radio into thinking it's happy. Do I radiate and make contacts? Yeah. But what's my radiation pattern look like? Who knows?
It looks the same, it's just smaller.
Yeah, or it's really out here, you know, but I'm not there to win the best radiation pattern contest, you know. So that's where tuner does come in nice. Built-in CW keyers, built-in PC interfaces. I can remember years ago when I used to do digital, I had a thing called a rig blaster. Yeah, it was another big old box that sat there that I plugged the radio in and then put in the serial cable or what were they, LPTs, the old printer one, you know, and that. But nowadays, I just use one USB cable, plug it in. So those are nice things. And being able to have more bands, the Shack in the Box. I mean, how many people own just a 10-meter radio? How many people own just a 17-meter radio or just a 20? I mean, pretty much all the radios we have now are multi-band, you know, but that's one of the nicer things to have, which sometimes you use them all. Right? And all else being equal, QRO, of course, works better than QRP. But nowadays, there's so many people that hunt POTA. The worst thing you got to worry about running QRP now is somebody running you off your frequency because they don't hear you. That which has happened, but that's okay. Like Ben even said, right? Use a radio that you already have that you're not willing to cry over if something happens to it. I mean, that I would not want to take my ICOM 7610 out to do POTA. Because if I drop that, I might cry. All right. But that 891, if I accidentally dropped it off McAfee's knob, yeah, that sucks. I'm out $600, but I can go get another one. You know, it's not like I'm attached to that radio. The 706 Mark II, I've had it since 2005. I think I got my money out of that radio. Now, yeah, I don't want to lose it or get rid of it, but you know, antennas, we kind of talked about that, right? All right, we got a nice portable tower station. Yeah, let's pull it to the park. Let's use it. Is that practical? Probably not. Or most of us don't have that. You know, your footprint. You know, when you get out there and set up, how much area you're going to take. You know, that's another consideration. If you're up here on the Appalachian Trail, you got pretty much whatever you want. 100 feet off the trail, you got what you want. But you go to, say, the picnic area at Garth's Mill, right? You're kind of, you know, kids over there playing basketball, people run, whatever. You want to kind of keep yourself compact. So that's always a consideration. All right. Also, once again, how easy is it to set this all up? Right? Is it going to take you an hour to do everything? You know, a good example, we'll pick on Tom again. Right? He come out there with this one radio, da 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 da. I'm like, Tom, why ain't you using your 7300? Plug power in, plug coax in, plug USB in. You're good. But I got to hook up the signal link to this. I got to hook up my external monitor. You know, it's just one of those, you know. Hey, but hey, he loved that radio. Good. He didn't want to give up on it. He fought me tooth and nail. Oh, I got that 7,000. I got that 7,000. Oh, finally, he was like, all right. He tried it. He tried it. He goes, yeah, Tim, I like that 7,300. I just bought another one. And he had one sitting under his desk for a year. So, you know, he's a deployment.
Told me that.
You know, we kind of talked about this, you know, antennas being, you know, in the trees, tripod, I mean, whatever works for you. You got resonant antennas, multi-band antennas. I think I just kind of keep going on here.
Go back to the multi-band resonant antenna thing.
What? Which one?
Go back one slide.
What, that junk DX Commander? That one?
Yep,
Yeah, see, I put that in because that's the one I don't recommend. No, I'm just joking. I know Ben uses that one a lot. But that's why I'm just saying, you got all these.
That one,
No one. Huh?
I think
Oh.
he's got four.
me too.
Oh, I thought you had four.
I have to replace a couple of
Yeah.
poles.
But I mean, you can see, you can build antennas that work just as good. And that's another good thing, you know, you can experiment with an antenna. You want to build it, you get out there in the woods, you got the low noise level, so you can kind of get a good determination on how it performs. There comes your experimenting. And how many times have you got on there and be like, you know, AA4SS radio check? This is the W4CA repeater. And no one comes back to you, right? But if you're really wanting to test something out and you go do parks on the air, you're going to have 50 plus people helping you test out that equipment. And then you could be like, oh, this antenna radiated really good into Michigan. But man, I didn't get nobody in South Carolina, really nobody in Georgia, you know.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Michigan and Texas
Yeah, we do. I don't care what happens. I think we got a highway to Texas.
and Michigan.
Yeah. And even them crazy people from Ohio. This is all just kind of fluff that I had put in there. You know, if you're going to use a computer, you know, you might want to figure out how much battery life you got. Like this thing here, I can take it out in the field and I know I'm good for at least 5 hours. The battery will last in this one for that long. I go out with my other buddy, Bob. He gets about 2 hours out of his laptop. Yeah, so if we're going to be out there longer, he's like, you just log. Send me the log when we're done. All right. So if you're wanting to get into POTA and you're thinking about doing it, all right, this is what I say. Kind of come up with your station. All right. And first, set it up in your backyard. Make sure it's going to work. Okay. Because you might be that, oh, yeah, you know, some of you young guys, like, heck yeah, I'm going to McPhee's Knob. You grab all your radio, you hike 3 miles up there, you get up there and go, damn, I don't have a BNC to 239 adapter. At least I caught myself. I thought about it before I actually got up on that trail. But, I mean, could you imagine the feeling? Matter of fact, I was in North Carolina one time.
Yes.
And I hiked about an hour and a half up. It was, I think it's called Moore's Knob up there. And they got an overlook out there. There's a bunch of people up there. So I just kind of hung out. And then all of a sudden it just kind of dispersed. So I won dispersed. Threw a rope up in a tree. I got my end fed all up. I'm off to the corner. I screw in my coax into the end fed. I go over to put it into my radio. My PL259 falls off.
No problem.
It was for me because I didn't have a knife. I couldn't MacGyver this son of a beef, right? I'm just like, I just hiked all this way. But then I remembered I had a 1 foot jumper for an antenna tuner that I had bought a while ago. And some reason I had it in my bag. So my radio, here was my end-fed halfway box. There was my radio right next to it. You know, so that's what I'm saying. You know, get into the backyard, you know, set up what you plan on using, make sure it works. Your SWRs are good, you know, whatever. Also make a checklist. Tell them how many times you run home to go get something. Sorry, hey, like I said, I've operated with Tom more than anybody here, so.
Tom,
First time plug went to Green Hill, I got out there and I set up my tent and all this and everything. And I went to look. No, I had radio.
a microphone.
I didn't have the dipole.
Yeah.
I know it was, you know, I'm thinking back. And of course, I live orientation, so it's a bit of a drive. I went all the way back. I looked all the way through the shack, out on the couch, the kitchen. No. So I just went back, well, you know, I'll just participate in somebody else, you know, their setup stuff. And I got back there, and, yeah, wait, I know I brought that. And I'm digging through a bag and I'm, oh, yeah.
So, so I said, making a checklist, all right, so you know everything gets in the car. All right, me personally, I've done this, so I have a red bag. And in that red bag is a dipole antenna, an end fed half wave, a couple extra jumpers. All right, my rope to tie off my dipolar end fed. I got like 4 things of rope in there. I do got a little small travel tuner in there that I've never really used. I just thought it was cute when I saw it, so I bought it. All right, but as you get that way, and you know, because if I go do parks on the air, normally all I gotta do is grab this laptop and that red bag and my battery and radio. Boom, I'm good to go. Yeah, I'm not one of these, ooh, okay, yeah, I gotta get this. Oh, yeah, I gotta grab that. Yeah, I keep everything. And then my 705, it's in a little backpack. Everything is in that. Yeah, Linda, you could just show up on my house one day, go, come on, Tim, take me and Bill up here on Turkey Cock Mountain. We're gonna go do an activation, but we didn't bring our radio. Okay, no problem. I grabbed that backpack, my laptop, let's go. Because I got the radio, the battery, the antennas, everything in that little backpack ready to go.
In case all fails,
Oh, there's one in my backpack now.
and a couple jumpers. It's got alligator clip.
Yeah.
You can recreate
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's why I was like, man, I even thought about
I've done that.
Yeah. All right. And when you finally think, all right, I'm ready to go do it, stay close to home. Okay. Don't be like, yes, I'm ready to go do it. I'm going to go do the Pentagon. Easy. Okay. And pick a nice day to do it. You know, because, yeah, there's not more. Your first experience, you drive 3 hours. And you find out, oh, that park's closed or you can't get to it. So then you're scrambling to find something else. And you finally get set up and then a lightning storm comes or something. You know, it'll give you a bad taste in your mouth the first time. So stick close to home. What I highly recommend you do is you get a hold of me or Ben, you know, or some of the other guys here that have been doing it now, someone that's been there and done it. Get with us. Say, hey, I want to go do this. You know, we did that thing at Green Hill Park. What was that? Back last spring, I think.
Well, next week.
Bill and Linda, right? You guys called CQ Parks on the air?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I sat down with that. I said, look, this is how it goes. You know, this is kind of your flow of how things work. You know, that last time, that same weekend, Fred Crack came out and Floyd, they'd never done parks on the air. I said, come on, you're going to get your first activation in right now. And showed him the ropes on how that is. And that was a good activation. Those are the ones I like. You don't have to do nothing. You just sit down in the chair. Everything's set up for you. CQ Parks on the air. You make your conversation. All right. Hey, thanks, guys.
They're in HT.
Yeah.
We're supposedly going out there
Yeah.
next Saturday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm working night shift.
Bringing it HT.
Yeah.
We got plenty of people around there. We can always pass the mic
Yeah,
and do that.
yeah. Yeah. Because you can do it. Because that's the one rule in POTA. Also, is you cannot make contacts through a repeater unless it's a satellite. You know, even though a satellite really is a repeater, it's just thousands of miles up into space. You know. That overwhelm you?
That's good.
No, it's great.
Yes.
Do hunters have an obligation to
Nope.
log or confirm contact?
No. No. A hunter, you don't have to do nothing. That's why I'm saying if you don't have a Parks on the Air account and say you go home tonight and you make one, you look tomorrow morning, it might say you've hunted 15 parks already. It's just because it is the activator's responsibility to submit the logs for that. But as a hunter, I mean, you might even go on there and find out you already got awards, you know, because you've done, you know, like I met Tom before you even got involved in Parks on the Air. You used to call me when I was doing Parks on the Air and when he signed up, all of a sudden hey, why does it show I've already hunted 5 parks? I haven't been in no parks. He's like, well,
You
it's
hunted,
because you made contact with me when I was in a park and I submitted that log. So you're in the system. It's just finally now it conjunct done with you.
That. Not a- Don't necessarily need or look for that verification of QSO, it's just the person that's out there doing the activation is going to do everything. They're the one that has that responsibility of saying, this is what I did.
They also don't have to tell you they're doing photo.
Yeah. I mean, we normally do. But you know, it's like me. When I get back from an activation, of course, I upload my log to POTA. I also send my log to QRZ. And I will also send it to Logbook of the World. And when I do that, I actually use where I was at, the grid square in the county and the state I was in. Because when I first did it, I used to just get home and upload it. Woo! You know, and a guy called me out very nicely. He's like, hey, Tim, I made contact with you. You said you were at Ferry Stone Park. And I looked on QRZ or on Logbook of the World and it says Franklin County. Isn't that in Patrick County? Am I missing something? So I said, no, brother, you are right. I was in Patrick County, but I just always submitted my logs as if I was at home. So then I found a little trick in Logbook of the World that does that for me now. I don't even have to tell it where I was at. It looks at my log and signs it. So any questions? Who's ready to go do it?
Well, be a hunter.
Huh?
I'll be
Be
a
a
hunter,
hunter?
not necessarily an activator.
Yeah.
But it's really neat as a hunter with little experience using HF, and at the house it's really difficult for us to do that. But this having that app thing and being able to actually see what frequency somebody is on, that makes it so much easier. I can just because what I found out in just the little bit we've done with HF is there's the static and you're dialing around and you can't find anything. I mean, to me, it's just a hassle